and welcome to the SciFirst MovieTalk episode. So in this episode, I'll be discussing the 2021 computer animated comedy Ron's Gone Wrong, as directed by Sarah Smith and Jean-Philippe Vine. So, tech giant Bubble has created the new must-have device, the Bebot, an automated robotic buddy designed to enhance and integrate your life on the World Wide Web, whilst also being tipped as being the new way to make friends. From the moment they are launched, they are an instant hit with the kids, and to Barney Podowski, as voiced by Jack Dylan Grazer, it seems like every kid has one, but him. With a dad, Graham, as voiced by Ed Helms, struggling to raise Barney on his own and sell his novelty toys at the same time, and a nan, Donka, as voiced by Olivia Colman, who's certainly a larger-than-life character herself. Unfortunately, they are a bit out of touch with the times, and indeed only just scraping by. So Barney dreams of owning his Bebot, they seem further away than ever. However, seeing how down his son is and how the other kids kind of rib him for not keeping up with the trends, Graham manages to obtain a Bebot from somebody selling one from the back of a lorry. Only thing is, unbeknownst, it's damaged. Filled with eager excitement upon being presented with his brand new shiny Bebot, Barney is soon dismayed to find out that the unit is glitching and unable to connect with the rest of the Bubble network. Essentially a blank slate, Barney's new Bebot, Ron, as voiced by, I'm going to have trouble here, Zach Galifianakis, the guy out of The Hangover, has to learn everything about Barney from scratch, the old-fashioned way, with only the simplest premise to his programming, to be Barney's best friend straight from the box. Together they go on a unique journey of friendship and discovery as they both come to understand and realise what a true friend is all about. So I must say that this film I found to be absolutely hilarious. I have never ever seen our son, who was, or is, 8 at the time of this review, I've never seen him absolutely laugh so hard. He was in hysterics, particularly with regards to the comedy around Ron and his glitches, you know, and his interaction with the Podowski family, especially Donka. Admittedly simple, yet absolutely classic stuff, you know? I think the movie certainly speaks directly to his generation. Just watching his enthusiasm and joy for the movie just kind of made that experience all that much better. And indeed, that's what this is. A true, fun, family-friendly experience. There have been plenty of other films of late about technology between the old and the new generation gaps, but this one still had a heart and a strong emotional connection. There are obvious comparisons between this and the earlier 2021 movie, The Mitchells vs. the Machines, with both having a very similar themes on technology and how it can kind of go so wrong and be kind of perverted for sinister uses. And whilst I still think Mitchells vs. the Machines is a much better movie than this, Ron's Gone Wrong still delivers, and I think really it kind of caters for a slightly younger audience, while also kind of bringing some delightful characters and comedy to the screen that the whole family can enjoy. From those from the most tech-savvy to the technophobes amongst us. The animation is totally on point with kind of a punchy plot, for the most part, and I'll get to that in a bit, and a real kind of relevant feel. It took a kind of a light-hearted approach to some of the kind of disasters and pitfalls of technology, whilst also bringing a kind of an affectionate kind of warmth to them at the same time. It seeks to offer differentiation between online and personal friends, between followers and the last thing, and like most things in this genre, it kind of does preach somewhat, I think, about the pangs of excessive use and reliance on technology. The movie also examines kind of physical bullying and online abuse, although to a much lesser extent than deserved. But there is an element of kind of feeling here when things turn on a number of the other characters in the movie, as kind of each starts to kind of come afoul of the internet's fleeting and kind of cutthroat thirst for a joke at somebody else's expense. This is indeed a kind of a moment that really does kind of make you feel guilty as an audience, you know, for laughing. The one point where the whole cinema was absolutely silent after just kind of wetting their pants, which indeed had its affected and intended message. It's funny when it's happening to somebody else, of course, not so amusing when the shoe's on the other foot, so to speak. But don't get me wrong, it's not a heavy film in this respect. It never really aims to shock, just kind of entertain, and it does this in bounds. It really does. I mean, it's great that we do kind of get to see like this home office budget computer set up with all its wires buzzing and zipping, fans wearing away, and the head banging buffering in Graham's home office kind of set up against the kind of this sleek and tidy, polished, light, fantastic look of the more upmarket and competent setup of the B-Bots and the Bubble network. And indeed, the film is chocker full of pop culture and technological references. Of course, with Bubble being very much their representation of Apple, dare I say, and other kind of large multinational tech companies, which do give it a kind of a fresh and kind of bouncy style. Quite anti-corporate, I would say, as this is kind of really where the kind of main source of antagonist is kind of derived from. This, for me, is kind of where the side was let down. The antagonist, which ends up being the COO of the Bubble Corporation, a ruthless kind of businessman out to fleece kids out of their data and money through the connectivity of these B-Bots. It was merely generic, I felt, and fairly cookie cut. And to be fair, it seems like an afterthought. And it's a shame, as I don't even think the film really needed it all that much. It had a bit of a Lord of the Rings thing going on in that respect too. Just kind of when you thought that you kind of reached a conclusion, they tagged on more to the story and lurched forward once again. But it did make the film feel longer than it actually was, or I think even needed to be. Another thing that really pestered me throughout the film, and I don't want to give too much away, but I suppose it's no secret that something is indeed wrong with Ron, you know? And that is the fact that Ron went wrong due to the fact that he fell out the back of a van, including his protective shipping case. But then thereafter seems totally, absolutely indestructible. It's the only part that kind of really stuck in my side while I was watching the movie, from a technological perspective perhaps. I just couldn't get over how easy he was to break in the first place, given kind of the rough and ready usage he had thereafter. But then, you know, I do suppose that so many devices are dropped first thing out the box, then it was kind of fitting in a way, you know? But despite this, Ron is absolutely excellent, both in the way that they've kind of conveyed emotions and the attitude to something that doesn't even have a face, to the way that they have sublimely produced a great comic character from our predisposed notions, expectations and experiences with technology. Overall, this was an absolutely fantastic family feel-good film with lots for everybody to enjoy on at least some level. Quite a quirky animation with an often seen premise. You know, it treaded a bit of old ground, but it was beautifully and thoughtfully presented, you know, with some great characters for the most part, with a peppy and kind of relevant story. A warm story of friendship, technology and discovery, proving that, you know, just what it means to be the best of friends. About being that only kid not to have something, you know, and I know how that feels. And then only to jump on the bandwagon either far too late, or indeed in the case of Ron, when something's just not quite right. Ron had indeed most definitely gone wrong, but in all the right ways possible. So that brings me to the end of this episode. Many thanks for watching. Do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please leave a like. Please do hit that subscribe button for more movie reviews, trailer reactions, other movie related content. Absolutely loved having you here at SciFirst MovieTalk, and definitely love to have you back. But most of all, just thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.